share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So I just kind of have to do this video. I don't have any I don't really want to, but I'm kind of press ganged into it. I need to do this video. Listen, my channel is mainly a geeky Doctor Who channel, but I would say I deal with like culture wars, and I don't like to call it wars, but that's what it is. I deal with that, where this is really a like a major part of it, and also I'm a little bit Jewy, you know. I'm not that circumspect about that. So putting all that together, I have to do a video about this. What is it I'm doing a video about? Whoopie Goldberg. Now, before I really get into this video, I don't think Whoopi Goldberg dislikes Jewish people. I want to be really clear about it. I think she quite likes Jewish people. In fact, when my wife and 2 kids were in New York about 10 years ago, I think maybe even longer, they went to see something on Broadway. They had a big chintzy time there. They went somewhere. They saw a Whoopi Goldberg thing. It could have been Sister Act. I really don't know. But they met Whoopi, right? They met Whoopi. Delightful. And my wife said, "Oh, Whoopi, when are you going to come to Israel?" I said, "Oh, I got to get back there. I think she has not an ounce of hatred in her for somebody based on them being Jewish, or really, I think any immutable characteristics. Maybe ideological differences, that might be true, but I don't think that's a representation of who she is as a human being. And that's really the tragedy I think we're in as a culture, as a species. I don't really know how to define it. Essentially, before we really get in the video, what I think's going on is this: that social media platforms and media platforms, they like you to spend time on there, right? They like you to spend more time on there. They found out the way to get most people to spend time there is to get them in conflict. It was actually one of the clever ideas they had in The Matrix 4, which everybody hated, right? Everybody hated that movie. I quite liked it. I thought it was good. It was one of the clever ideas that if you feel that you're in conflict, you will spend more time on the platform and you engage more in it, and you're more valuable, right? It's so The Matrix. We are plugged into that machine, right? Now, also add in, I think, a strong ideological bias on the people who run these platforms, and you get a divided culture, which is where we are right now. Where we are as a culture is that both sides are saying exactly the same things about each other. I really genuinely believe the other side of the cultural war, I hesitate to call it the left side, is a deeply racist one based on what they say and do. And I think they say roughly the same thing based on what they're told. People like me say and do what we really don't. So there we go. But I think that's really, I think it's our culture is going under. We're in this conflict because of algorithm, death by algorithm. But anyway, so that's what I think has driven Whoopi Goldberg to this point, and it's got nothing to do with intelligence. Genuinely, absolutely genuinely, one of the most intelligent people I know is a neighbor of mine. Very, it's a really the real crazy thing. Very big into the whole Democrat side of things. And I live in Samaria in Israel. There aren't that many people like that. Now, it's not that the fact that they're stupid, right? No, they're super intelligent, very educated. It's not that. I think it's I think it's this. I don't want to use the word brainwashing, but yeah, kind of brainwashing that we've been conditioned to think that we're in conflict, so they've got to find conflict, and then when there's no conflict, they make it, which is where I think Whoopi is on this one. Weirdly enough, I would say they're on the left and I'm on the right, even though I think. But the weird thing is, policy positions, like fiscal policy positions, I'm way more left wing, okay? Most of my positions, I'm a big lefty, I'm a big hippie. What do you want out of me? But like, I'm way more left wing. But they're considered the left and I'm the right. That's the crazy world we live in. Okay, fine. With that introduction, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are fan-dabby. double dozy. If you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button, baby. Have a bit of a Rumble. I don't really know what that means. It's really, it's a little plus sign. I think it's like a like. It's really disappointing, right? It's really disappointing. Like, share, subscribe, Rumble, but do sign up to my Substack here in the video notes. It's an email newsletter. I put out stuff. I put out information about my content I put out, plus a ton of comic books. I write and draw comics. I like comic books. It's one of the many things I enjoy. So you get, it's free, and I also have a paid one. It's $5 a month, where there are awesome comics. If you want to throw a buck at a rabbi, I'm right here, baby. I won't try and talk you out of it. Fine, like, share, subscribe, comment is also good. Substack. Okay, I think we covered everything. Let's get to this, right? Let's get to this. This is a interesting story that I've seen blossom and grow over the last week. So it started off, the comic book mouse, which is my intersection of this, was banned by I think Tennessee school board. Now, I don't know why they banned it, because again, culture war stuff, I have no idea what's going on. They may be, again, I hate using the words left and right because it's not real. It's not left and right. But they may be the left side, and the left side, they don't want you to know what history is. Why do they not want you to know what history is? Because they don't want you to know what racism is. Why don't they want you to know what racism is? Because then they can tell you anything is racism, which I think is what we're being defined as now. And then if you don't know history, if you don't understand anything, you can't argue against, say, no, that's not racism. This is racism. And we really see, so that's the thesis, and I think we see it very much played out. So this book Mouse was banned. So it's either they don't like Jews. there's that. It could well be that. It's either they don't like Jews, or they don't like history, or they're just stupid. One of the three, okay, or four other. A combination. I don't know. But they removed it from the school, essentially because there was some bad language in it, maybe. And it really, no, the bad language in it is a fantastic sequence, right? There's absolutely fantastic. If you've never read the book Mouse, there's a review of it on my channel. I put up on Wednesday. I think this video is going out on Friday. But there's it's a review. It's an autobiographical tale of basically a father telling a son, in a very realistic and genuine way, what his Holocaust experience was, right? And so the first book is much more about the build up to being sent to Auschwitz, I think. And then the second book is about surviving in the camps and life afterwards, right? So that's essentially what the book's about. But there's a great sequence in it where, set in the present day, which was like the 1980s, 1990s, they're driving. He's driving with his son, right? And the black guy is looking like hitching for a ride, and the Holocaust survivor father is like, "Oi, a Schwarzer, keep driving!" It was. Which I think was a brilliant scene, like a brilliant, clever scene. It could have been that they got it banned. There were scenes in gas chambers with I don't want to call it nudity, but there was that. Either way, it's ridiculous that it was banned, but it sparked a national conversation. National conversation that got to the Yenters on The View. Never good news, right? Never good news if it gets to the Yenters on The View. So Whoopi Goldberg makes her first Whoopi over here, and again, it's incredible because what we're about to see. It's absolutely incredible, and gets more incredible as we go. So let's watch this first clip.
Well, also, if you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race.
Kind of was, but in her mind it wasn't, and we're going to find out. Let us speak for a little bit, and then we're going to find out really what's going on.
No, it's not about race.
It's about a different race.
But it's not about race.
Now, I want to be clear. If you ever read Mein Kampf, which is like, I can't say his name here on YouTube, I'm going to get in trouble. The leader of the naughty National Socialists from Germany in the 1930s. If you read his book, he said there are many races, right? Many races, and the Jews were the worst of them. Why? Because they essentially brought morality into the world, right? Judeo-Christian morality was born from Judaism, and then went through Christianity and Islam. When he saw Jews as being the problem, but essentially because they brought this Judeo-Christian morality into the world and moved people away from being barbarians, right? And that was very, very explicitly in the song. But they definitely said the Jew is a race. They're the most pernicious race because they hide and they have their cloaking device. They can look like anyone, but yes, as a cornerstone of naughty nationalist National Socialist policy, Germany, naughty nationalist German 1930s policy. Yes, Jews were defined as race, black people were defined as race, gypsies were defined as a race, but that doesn't fit into Whoopi's worldview now. Why doesn't it fit into Whoopi's worldview? Not because she's an idiot, not because she's ignorant, not because she hates Jews, and I can't look inside her heart and say, oh, she doesn't hate it, but I don't believe she does. I really, genuinely don't believe she does. It's because her brain has been warped by this need to be in conflict. Essentially, the conflict is that if you don't agree with me on the left, even though they're not that left wing, if you don't agree with me on the left, then it's because you're a racist, and anybody who doesn't vote the way is a racist, and the racial tension is only towards black people, right? Only to if it's not towards black people, it's not racism, right? And if it's black people hating Asian people, it's really racism, and that's kind of the weird worldview that they have. Now, I saw a judge being grilled by Ted Cruz for being nominated for something or other, and his point was, wait a minute, if you don't think that Asian people are deserving of kindness or compassion, or if they don't think there should be anti-Asian discrimination, and that's literally her position. We live in strange times. Anyways, let Whoopi get a carry on. Let her dig deeper a little bit.
It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's about
but
going
it's
after
not. It's
Jews
not about
and
race.
gypsies
But these are two
Romans.
white groups of people.
Aha! There she said. They're two white groups of people. There can't be racism, right? Right. Yeah. If 85% of violent crimes, I believe, in the Bay Area, what was it, last year? I don't know where the stat comes from. Well, very recently, was black people attacking Asian people. Not hate crimes, violent crimes, right? There is a spike in Asian hate crimes in America. And just the demographic truth of it is the vast majority of this, and about over 90%, is from black people. But that's not racism, right? Because racism can only be directed at black people. And this is the insanity that Whoopi Goldberg totally believes. Let's see her go further down this rabbit hole, because this is a rabbit hole she's going to go down.
Well, they would have to black people
see
too.
them as white people.
But you're missing the point. You're missing the point. The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other.
Now, as we're going to see in the fourth clip of this video, that is entirely what Whoopi Goldberg has been doing about everything for the last 4 or 5 years. Turning everything into being about race when it's not, right? Everything is about white supremacy when it's absolutely not. And we're going to see a montage of this, don't worry. So the only thing that isn't racism now, everything is the Holocaust. It's like the Holocaust. This is how the Holocaust, apart from the actual Holocaust, right? Because there is one of the many racist views of the left. And again, it's not that they're left-wing. The Democrats are more right-wing on a lot of policy positions, fiscal positions, than I am, right? It's not that they're left. It's that they want to believe that people are intrinsically and helplessly defined by their skin color, by their gender, right? And they are unable to break out of that. And that's why there's kind of this anger towards Asians that they don't fit into that. Because generally speaking, the Asians that have done very, very well in America come from a culture which venerates family and achievement. The black population in America used to be before all these like Democrat policies came into fruition, was about 75% of babies were born into stable houses. Now that's flipped now. 75% of black babies born now are born into single homes. Now, yeah, you can attribute some of that to the changing morals of society. But I think you can attribute most of that is black people being targeted by the Democrats, by traditional left-wing people to be given entitlements that are designed to destroy family. Right? When you destroy family, then you'll have a much higher chance of failing in school or never finishing school and being right. If you have a stable family, you don't. And that has nothing to do with skin color. I do not think there's anything about black people they go, oh no, I do not want to have a family. No, that's a basic human drive. I think that every human being actually genuinely wants, right? I think it's a basic human drive that people will do the easiest thing for them, right? The easiest thing for them, which is normally not the best thing for them. And I think it was done purposely. But anyway, let's continue.
It's a problem. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, because black, white, Jews, everybody eats each other. So is it?
Again, everything for the last 5-6 years has been about race. Everything Donald Trump said was racist. No matter if it wasn't or was. Everything is always about race.
If you're uncomfortable, if you hear about mouse, should you be worried? Should your child say, oh my God, I wonder if that's me? No, that's not what they're going to say. They're going to say, I don't want to be like that.
So anyway, she's dug herself a hole here. Right? She's dug herself a hole and then tried to wrap up. But then I'm going to whiz forward because thank you for MRC Newsbusters where I got this clip from. Then she goes on Steve Colbert, my God. Is the reality exactly like Hunger Games now? Isn't it exactly like the bloke in Hunger Games that Jennifer Lawrence, that talk show? He seems exactly like that. But let's see what happens there.
Have you come to understand that the Nazis saw it as race?
So yeah, okay. She received a hell of a lot of flack for her sheer ignorance, saying it wasn't. And she was making an interesting point. If only she could have made that point for the last 5 years, and maybe we wouldn't have so much social division that we are suffering through right now. Like maybe that would have been a little bit better. So she goes on Colbert that night, and let's see what happens.
Well, because they might, asking the Nazis, they would say, yes, it's a racial issue.
Well, see, this is what's interesting to me, because the Nazis lied. It wasn't.
Yeah, but equally, I think so do the... And again, I don't want to say the Democrats. It's not... Used to be fine. I genuinely believe to have a functional society, you need a robust and functional left and right wing of politics that can hammer it out, right? I think that's what, and I think, boy, do we not have that nowadays. Honestly, I was really excited when Jeremy Corbyn became the leader of Labour. Now, Jeremy Corbyn, if you don't know who he is, he's a very, very, very anti-Semitic socialist that took over the mainstream left wing, the Democrat Party in England, Labour, and destroyed it, absolutely destroyed it, destroyed it beyond destroyed it in the last election, right? For many reasons, some of them being his dyed-in-the-wool anti-Semitism. However, the thing I liked about him when I first saw him was he was talking like a human being, right? I was like, oh, maybe he could. And I always think the best of people. I think maybe they'll just be able to get over it, right? Maybe they'll just be able to get over it, and they'll see the error of the ways, and he's a leader of a major party, and he can do good if he can just move on. And no, they can't. They absolutely can't. Anyway, so dig the hole a little bit deeper now.
They had issues with ethnicity, not with race, because most of the Nazis were white people, and most of the people they were attacking were white people. So to me, I'm thinking, how can you say it's about race if you are fighting each other?
Again, Asian world, there's tons of racism in the Asian world. Asian on Asian racism. In the Arab world, there's insane amount of racism against it. Yeah, but they've wanted to tell you desperately that racism is this one thing, right? And then they pretend this one thing is prevalent throughout the Western world. It isn't. Nobody hates black people. I mean, I guess some people do. I mean, like, honestly, but I don't. I believe the statistic is in the US, out of about 300 million people, 7,000 of them are in the KKK, right? Let's up that. Let's up that to, let's say there's 10. Let's say 100,000. It's not a big number compared to 300 million. It's an invisible dot on an invisible... And yes, they're arseholes, right? I agree with you, right? Anybody who judge somebody on their skin color negatively, or in any way, I think, is an arsehole, right? I agree with you. But this is the insanity that Whoopi Goldberg's been fed. That they need there to be conflict, and they can't create conflict. So they make up conflict. They pretended this boy, Carl Rittenhouse, was a more civically responsible young man you can't possibly imagine. Like just this I mean, honestly, this incredibly responsible young man was painted as a racist because by Whoopi Goldberg, because he shot a white person in the Black Lives Matter riot, a white person who happens to have been a multiple child rapist. And I'm not making it up to make it sound better, or worse. Like, I'm not making, he shot somebody who was a multiple child rapist who was trying to kill him, very obviously on camera, and for a year. The entirety of the media, Whoopi Goldberg included, labeled this kid a white supremacist. Do you remember the Covington kids? You know why they said they were racist? Because it fit the narrative. And they need there to be that narrative. They need there to be that narrative of we hate each other to be able to divide us, which is really what I think is going on.
So it all really began because I said, how will we explain to children what happened in Nazi Germany? This wasn't racial. This was about white on white.
Again, why are you obsessed with skin color? Like, again, why are there only two races in the world? Why? Because this is the insanity that they've been brainwashed in. They actually absolutely believes it. Absolutely believes it.
And everybody said, no, it was racial. And so that's what this all came from. So once again, don't write me anymore. I know how you feel.
Yeah, she didn't have an easy day, and it got worse, I'm afraid. I mean, this didn't help her at all. Okay,
I already know. I get it. And I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, she's like saying, I still think you're full of shit. I still think you're full of crap. No, but that did not go down too well. So then we have this third clip from The View, the next day on The View. Let's see what happened then.
Yesterday on our show,
Let me bring that down a touch. There you go. There we go. Fine. So now she's in apology mode, right? Apology mode, which is the penance that we need to go on now. Now she's in the struggle session.
I misspoke, and I tweeted about it last night, but I kind of want you to hear it from me directly. I said something that I feel a responsibility for not leaving unexamined, because my words upset so many people, which was never my intention.
Now, I wonder, would she give the same grace to Donald Trump that she's giving to herself? And I have to tell you, just as an aside, as a human being, a really good way to be a good person, right? A really good way to be a good person, be the person that you would like to be, is to treat people, to judge people like you judge yourself, right? Judge others like you judge yourself, because you always judge yourself more favorably, right? And it's led me into a lot of trouble because I've judged people too favorably, and I've got burnt by it over and over again, right? That has its downside, but you get to be the person that you want to be. And also, you know, you can, if you want to improve yourself, look at yourself and as an outsider, how would you judge yourself if you were somebody looking at you? Like Whoopi, I really wish you had the same grace for the last 5 years when you were sowing absolute hatred and division by pumping this insanity full of everybody around you.
And I understand why now. And for that, I am deeply, deeply grateful because the information I got was really helpful and helped me understand some different things. And while discussing how a Tennessee school board unanimously voted to remove a graphic novel about the Holocaust, I said that the Holocaust wasn't about race.
Whoops. Yeah, whoops. Maybe you wanted to think that one through there, Whoopi.
And it was instead about man's inhumanity to man. But it is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race.
See, when you label somebody, when you other somebody as a race, right? Like you say they're white supremacists, when they're not. When you say they're insurrectionists, when they're not. When you say they're racist, when they're not, right? And we've had a lot of that for the last 5 years. I've been called bigot, sexist, racist. And honestly, I think all people are intrinsically equal. And that's my real, genuine belief in the matter. I think all peoples are intrinsically equal. However, when you have a point of view that can't be justified, you've got to stop anybody examining it. And calling them a racist is a pretty good way, right? A pretty good way to stop that happening.
Now, words matter, and mine are no exception. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people, as they know, and...
You know what, I'll tell you, I want to attest to this, from my personally, right? She was nice to my wife, she was nice to my kids. I don't think she gets on well with Billy Crystal. That seems to be a slam dunk for me, right? I don't think she doesn't like Jewish people. I think she genuinely does feel affinity to Jewish people. I mean, why? Because they're people, right? And I think she's of that age. But still, there's been a lot of we call it Trump derangement syndrome, and it's real. I'm sorry, it was real. Yeah, and I think we're seeing how real it was now when you look at the world. It's not worked out well this past year, has it? Right? It's like honestly, again, we started talking about my friend who's very, very much into the on the Democrat side of things. I really try not to talk about politics at all because this has been a terrible year for that person, and I think the next year is going to be a lot worse, right? A lot worse. I think what we're seeing now is narrative. The narrative of everybody's a racist hitting reality, right? And it's hit reality for Whoopi, and she doesn't like it.
Y'all know, because I've always done that. So because of all of this, we've asked Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, and author of It Could Happen Here.
Right. So I brought a Jew with me. Here's a Jew I found earlier, right? Here's a Jew I found earlier. So, didn't work out that great. This is the headline that I saw over here. The headline as of this morning, ABC suspends Whoopi from The View for hurtful comments for 2 weeks. Honestly, the way they treated Roseanne Barr, a Jew, for, I would say much less. Much less. Roseanne got her life completely destroyed because she called a black person a monkey. Now that sounds pretty darn bad. Until you put it in context. Again, I don't know what's in her heart. I don't know what she was thinking. I just don't make the mental connection between black people and monkeys so. I know it's a thing, right? I know it's a thing that racists do. It's just because I'm not a racist, so I don't really think about things in those terms. I think Roseanne's probably the same way. Just the same way I don't think Whoopi doesn't like Jewish people. But there's one rule for thee and one rule for me, and that's you only have one standard of justice, or you have no standard of justice, which is basically what we got. And the only standard they got is a double standard, right? A double standard, which we're going to look at right now. So this is a montage of Whoopi making everything about race over the last few years.
I hate to ask this question.
Oh, one sec. Let me make this smaller. Right. So here, this is, okay, 1 minute, 20 seconds.
You have aligned yourself with a man who has bashed women.
See, again, I really don't think, I know the people who don't like him really think he had. I mean, you got to look at things in context, and the context is Bill Clinton raped women, right? I think Donald Trump very much like sleeping with porn stars. Yeah, yes, that I think he probably was less than faithful to his wife, which I don't think is a good thing, right? But I think he likes snubbing porn stars, right? I think the Clintons like eating children, right? So but yeah, I don't think he views women as being lesser, right? I don't think Whoopi thinks Jews are evil. I don't think he views women as being lesser. I think he views women as some of them being objectifiable that he would like to sleep with. Yeah, or as we call it, very normative male heterosexuality, in the Western world. So I don't think he's bashed women. I don't see any real evidence for that whatsoever, right? I mean, saying in the on a bike that women throw themselves at you when you're insanely wealthy. Yes, and he's like, and I let them. I'm like, okay, but that was designed to destroy his presidential bid, and it failed. Let's be clear. That's really what it was about.
Made countless racist remarks.
No. And the one they always go to is the what was it? The Charlottesville thing, where he said there were good people. Yes, that's accurately. That's what happened. There were people protesting about statues and taking them down, and why they want to take down statues because they don't want you to. They don't want you to know what racism actually is, right? Then there were good people, and in that same speech, a line later, and he said, "I absolutely disavow and condemn the white supremacy and the KKK." A clear condemnation. Then the racists hate Donald Trump. But again, this was a nonsense that was sold and sold and sold for years on end. And you forget, because it was a couple of years ago now, right? This was a nonsense we were sold as the economy was doing better than we've ever done before, as peace was being brought to the Middle East, right? And I listen, this is not a party political broadcast. I just like things being better for more people, right? And I think I like the world being less racist.
And
show them.
You're Ben Carson. Why?
Yeah, he said show them. Ignores it completely.
Why would you align yourself with
Forgot
that?
my name
Like
for a
I'm going to
second.
explain to Bill Barr now, who says there is no systemic racism.
I don't think there is, right? I mean, other than the anti-Semitic racism, and the anti-Asian racism going through the left-wing side of the aisle. I don't think they're left-wing, right? I think, yeah.
Eric Gardner, George Floyd couldn't breathe. Breonna Taylor.
The reason he couldn't breathe, and again, people do not like to be anybody bring this up. He had a fatal dose of fentanyl in him, and that's probably what killed him. Right? That was considered that he died. He probably would have died without the knee on his back or with the knee on his back, because he had a fatal. Again, let's say this again. He had a fatal dose of fentanyl. I do not think. Was it Derek Chauvin, the guy who was convicted of murdering him, had intended to murder him, intended him to die? I think he would have much rather not die. I just don't believe the narrative of that was sold, because there's a lot of things that disagree with it. I don't believe the narrative that America or the Western world is intrinsically racist, which is what they wanted you to believe.
Police didn't knock. Philando Castile, he told them, I have a gun. Tamir Rice was 12. Now, if you can't look at that and say, hey.
Again, you can look at all these things. I think they're taking things wildly out of context, much like the George Floyd thing, right? And it was done because they hated Trump. But we're going to get the real one in a second.
Hey, we have an issue and we got to sit down and talk about it.
And the problem I have is the only way to become a good Republican is to become a Democrat.
Yeah, because there is no two sides of the story, but there is absolutely no two sides of the story, and this is the one that I think seals the deal for me, right?
According to the media. And I don't know what to do anymore because I can't keep coming on TV every day saying that we're all Nazis and you know, Hitler salutes and whatever. It's just not intellectually honest.
Well, I have to say, let me just say something for poops and giggles. The Republicans have brought this on themselves. They've brought this view of them on themselves.
No, Whoopi, you brought this on yourself, right? Let's have a look. You've been suspended. You've been labeled as a racist, and I'm sure you hate being labeled as a racist because you're not a racist. Disgusting, isn't it? You brought that on yourself. You and all the people of your ilk, which is a lot of people, you all brought it on yourselves, right? And I really genuinely believe as the year goes on, we're going to see this narrative after narrative, which is completely disingenuous, completely false, hitting reality. It's hit reality for Whoopi Goldberg. I think it's going to hit reality for a lot more people. And I don't think they're going to like it, right? I don't think it's going to be a pleasant time for anybody at all. So there you go. It's a video I simply had to make because it's kind of, you know, in my wheelhouse. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.